introduction. So, good morning, everybody. My name is Machi. I would like to continue with the next part, literature review. So, I would like to mention the first part, languaging as a pedagogical approach. So, we can see that the translanguaging here, as Dr. Ye had mentioned, the practice of here in the classroom can allow the use of the students all linguistic repertoires. It means that this use of translanguaging in the classroom can support the students' communication, their learning, as well as expression that challenges the language-related inequalities in the Vietnamese context. So when it comes to the switching, as Dr. Yang had mentioned, switching is the part of the translanguaging. So switching here refers to the change, the deliberate change about the language of the output and the language of the input. So the use of translanguaging here, the use of L1 can be flexible in the classroom as well as in the deeply cognitive and connected way. So this use of translanguaging in the classroom can help to construct the meaning, gain the experience, and as well as help the student to acquire the second language knowledge. So this use will help the students to optimize their learning. And this use also helps the students to think, to understand, and to learn the language by using all of the language resources. And in this way, the students can have many chances to develop stronger bilingual thinking as well as improve their overall learning in the language learning. And I would like to give you a deep insight into the thing in EL 18 English language teaching. So I would like to synthesize and summarize something about two contexts here. The first one, higher education. The second one, K-12 context. So higher education context. Languaging here in the existing literature, the use of translanguaging here, it allows the use of the learners' diverse languages as resources. And this way will help the students allow the multilingual written and oral communication in their language learning. And this use of translanguaging will empower those who feel disempowered by English monolingualism. English only policy, as Dr. Zek had mentioned. And what about the K-12 context? So the use of translanguaging here will to promote the students' participation. And this use will help them to get equal access and generation of knowledge. And the use of L1 will manage students' behavior, as Dr. Yang had mentioned, right? Or Ms. Hu has a response to the question of Dr. Yang, right? Okay. Now I would like to narrow down in the Vietnamese context. Here is the table of the university context with various levels like major, non-major, EMI programs. Okay, I'd like to talk about it first. The study was conducted in Van University, my school. But this is just the non-major, non-major students. So the use of translanguaging here, these researchers, they apply translanguaging in speaking classes for non-English major students. So this use will help the students boost their confidence as well as their fluency of speaking. And this way, we help them to improve their behavior, motivation, as well as the participation for this study. And how about the next study? Dr. Kamle. Okay. Dr. Kamle conducted a study with the participants, teacher participants at the university, and the study of Dr. Kamle found that the use of ChatGPT here will like facilitate the students by like checking their students' understanding and emphasize the context. Emphasizing here like when teachers just use L to teach the student be distracted, or maybe they get confused. Sometimes they get confused. And the use of L1 here can help highlight the content of the lessons. And the use of ChatGPT here will decrease the stress of speaking the second language. Okay. So now let's talk about a study by Yin and Yang with the student participation at the university. So the study here found that the students prefer the use of L1 in specialized courses. For example, linguistics, grammar, or literature, or translation. This is because of the simple way of the A1 here will help to clarify the challenging concepts or maybe the different terms that will be difficult for them to understand in A2. And how about this one? Dr. Ngô she conducted a study with teacher participation and student participation in an EMI program at university. And this study found that the use of L1 will have students access the content of finding the L2. And I think here we align with the second study. And this use of L1 will help produce knowledge, help the students produce knowledge by themselves. Now let's talk about the next study by David in 2024 with the student participation at university. The study found that this result align with the result of Indian by concluding that the students can understand the complex subject matter, and the use of L1 or ChatGPT here will provide them with the access to different meanings, interpretations, or processes, as well as improved interaction in the classroom. And this use will help them to. This use of ChatGPT will support them with the students with low level proficiency in the second language, and this way will help to develop their confidence in learning attitude and facilitate collaboration in learning. So I think that when we study, we prefer the use of A1 to discuss with your friends instead of just A2, because we share the same language. We prefer the second language. Okay. And now I would like to talk about the other contexts, including language centers, high school teachers, or secondary school teachers. If I found any result of studies in primary school or primary school. Okay. So in the first study, Miss Ngô, she is also the student in the master's program at my university. So she conducted the study with student participation in her language center, and she found that the use of ChatGPT will promote the comprehension, promotes the communication opportunities of the student, as well as bring the environment or atmosphere that will support their learning. And I think this result align with the previous study I have mentioned in university context. It will have to it will be better or suitable for low-level students. And the second, at high school context with a teacher participation by Wing and John. the study found that the students will be supported with the cognitive learning related to like enhancing grammar or vocabulary, and this use of text languaging will help them to decrease the level of anxiety and encourage active participation, like the study, the first study I mentioned, and create an environment, inclusive learning environment. And the last one at secondary school. I want to talk about this in detail in here. This study have two mixed two contexts. The first one, private schools. The second one, state schools. So the study found that the use of text languaging here is facilitate their students, the teachers, students studies for cognitive purposes. For example, they can explain grammar in their language, right? And prepare for examination related to vocabulary. But I want to highlight something about the difference of the state school and the private school here. Because of the English-only policy of the private school, in this group of teachers, the private teachers, they said that they because of the English-only policy, they cannot use L1 in their classroom compared to the public school students, the public school teachers. So that is the advantage here. And I would like to talk about I would like to mention methodology here. So I will describe the expressive framework of our study. The first step, we will identify the papers by using certain keywords like text languaging, pedagogical approach, pedagogy, ELT, and TESOL. And we found 200 for the first step, 400 papers for the first step. And the second step, we have screening. First, initial screening, we will screen through the titles and the abstracts, and we found 188 papers. But for the next step, full text screening, we pay attention to read the full text of the selected papers we have found in this step, and we just narrow down into 120 papers, including book chapters and others. And the last step, included section, we will select the papers to support and align with the research question. Now, we want to talk about the criteria to choose the suitable papers. By the criteria here, the paper will must have peer research, right? And it must be empirical, and it must include teacher and students participation, and the context of the paper must be in TESOL or ELT context. How about this one? We apply the thematic analysis to answer the research question, and we have the steps. First one, we will have the initial coding. Next, we will theme naming. We name some things we have codes, and we synthesize existing literature based on the themes, and then we will develop the themes by collecting the suitable papers. And now I would like to talk about now I would like to answer the first question by using thematic analysis. Here we can how do learners acquire second language knowledge, and based on the thematic analysis, we have found that learners can acquire second language knowledge through translanguaging activities. And next, we through the activities, we have the strategies like switching and translanguaging. And the next thing is about the popularity of the use of translanguaging in the two contexts, EMI and EAP. So now I would like to discuss the first thing, translanguaging. activities. So I would like to talk about the four skills where the transcription are used here. First, listening. In the listening context classes, the use of transcription will help the students to take notes by their linguistic and semiotic resources, and this will help them to have diverse and flexible vocalization, multilingual, multimodal access in their notes. And what about the reading classes? The study of NAGA in 2018, the transformation in the reading classes here, she applied with the use of collaboration in work. In the working group, she will ask the students to finish the reading comprehension exercise by putting the paragraphs of the text in the correct order, and a true or false exercise on the text, and they will do it in L1. Next, the study by these researchers, they found that the students can use translation apps or dictionaries, glossaries, or a textbook to facilitate the use of their learning. Next, I would like to talk about speaking classes. The speaking classes here conducted by All Young in 2020. The researcher found that the students have some strategy, the use of transcription in speaking classes have some strategies here. First, fillers. The students can utilize some short like A1 words to fill pauses before they continue to speak L2. Next, back channeling. The students can react in A1 while listening to show their understanding or their interest. Next, when they need support or need help, they can use L1 instead of L2 in this class. Next, equivalence. They can insert L1 words or phrases into L2 sentences. They will just using L2 equivalence here. And then the last one, mental language. The students can use L1 to talk about the task itself or the content. Now I would like to talk about the writing classes. So in this study, they use messaging with some steps here. The steps include the first one, explore. The student will be asked to read the text in 2 languages. Next, evaluate. The students will be allowed to explore, compare, and contrast the text by the discussion in any language they want. It means that they can use their own linguistic tools. But the final answer must be in the L2, not in 1. And next one, imagine. The students can have the chance to brainstorm, to fill in the outlines using the older tools. For example, they can research the textbooks in language. But the task will be completed in the L2, of course. And next, present. In this step, the students can work in pair and work in group to present their final paper in the L2 by the discussion in group. First of all, here the students can look in group and they define the paragraphs for each member in the group. And finally, they will be review each member's work, and they can have a chance to ask questions or using oral tools. And the last one, in implement. The students will present their tasks, their work in L2, and receive the feedback from their teachers and their friends to justify their choices, and then they will have the enough things to revise and rewrite their final version of their work. And I would like to mention switching in Greek, we mentioned here. The switching in translation activities here will help the students facilitate the meaning making without like challenging their understanding. And the use of strategy transformation will help them to translate a new vocabulary systems, explaining grammar, managing class, and also some key points, expressing a sense of empathy and solidarity toward the students. And supports our facilitated understanding by quoting others' words and make an optimal use of resources in bilingual linguistic tools. So I would like to invite Mr. Hui to talk about the next team.